Hi, George, window mechanic here. We're in a customer's home and we're going to be doing replacement of cranking devices, which are called operators in the business. And here the customer has two casement windows next to each other, a left and a right, and the operator is just completely missing in the left-hand side. So we purchased an operator, which is, these are all Anderson products. This particular type of an operator is called an entry guard, and this particular model has like one arm with a joint in it, and it's very important that it has a step down. So you got to be very careful when you order the right part, because a big part of doing this repair properly is actually getting the right part, because if you were to get this with a step up instead of a step down, it wouldn't fit. And then the clip on the end here, you see the clip has got a surface mount which controls it from the top. That could also be flipped around so that the control is from the bottom. That's not good either. So you have to, if it's controlled from the top, and this particular window does have a peg where it comes in from the top, then this is the operator that would work for this window. So we just looked everything over, and this is the correct operator for this window. So now the first step that you want to do is you have to lift off this sill piece off of the window. And the best way to do that is to use a pry bar. And this type of a pry bar is actually a good type of a pry bar to use for window repair. And when you get it, sometimes it's not very sharp on the edge here. So what I do is I grind it down myself and sharpen it up so it has a nice sharp edge, so I can get underneath the sill and this sub-sill or this cover sill and force it up so that I can remove it, because you need to remove this before you can change and install the new operator. So here we go. In order to be able to get it out of there, sometimes you have to rack it a little bit in order for it to come out. Now if you have any kind of parts or things that are in here that are in the way, you want to get them out of there, and any kind of dust or anything else that's in there. We just purchased ourselves a new cordless shop vac, so this gives us an opportunity to use it. This is made by Milwaukee, and the good thing about it is that there's no outlet handy. You can still have the ability to clean your area. So our operator goes in just like this. Lines up with the holes that are there already. Okay. Because the operator was completely missing on this window, there were no screws. So luckily I have the kind of screws we need, which look like this, that were in my car, and they're just tapered so that when you screw them down with a Phillips, they are flush with the operator and they're not in the way. Okay. very important for that little latch to catch on the ridge that's on the stem. This way that'll hold it in position. Now that it's hooked up, you can see the operator's functioning properly. So the install has pretty much been done. Now it's just a matter of putting the cover back on. So we'll take the handle back off and you take a look to see what's happening here with your nails. This nail kind of went in on an angle, so I kind of like straighten it out a little bit. Alright, as in every job there's a short way to do it and a more thorough way to do it, and I like to do things more thoroughly. So what I did is I went to get a caulking gun to put a little bead of caulk underneath the sill cover so it holds it down better, and plus there's only a couple of finishing nails barely sticking out of the bottom of this, so I got a couple extra finishing nails to hold it down better, and it will be more secure that way. So here we go. Over here, come here, a little closer, film in here. You see right here, there's this chip in the wood here. Usually that doesn't happen. When it happens, it's very hard to fill that in with any kind of filler, so we have some caulking. We're going to just put a little caulking in there and blend that in right now. So cosmetically it blends in and looks much better than the way it does right now. Put a little caulking on there and then just work that on there a little bit. And that film that looks a lot better than it did before. Okay, so now that we got everything back together again and we got the little touch-up done, we put the covers on. The customer had the covers. For this type of a operator, it uses these kind of covers, and it just goes right under the handle. There's a set screw on the handle, and you got to get that real tight so that the handle doesn't come loose. Okay. Now the other window didn't really need any repair, but we take the handle off for that. Put the cover on that the customer had, snap it on, put the handle back on, and tighten the set screw. Clean that up a little bit so it looks good, and these two windows are done. All we have to do is wait for the caulking to dry, and now we're going to move downstairs and do a similar operator, except this one has two arms. I'm going to take it out of the package here and show you what that looks like. See, this type of an operator is for a window that's wider. And it has one long arm, and then it has a backup arm. It's called the dual arm operator. And it also has a joint on the second arm, but in this case, the second arm has a step up again. So you gotta make sure that it steps up and the clip is on the top. Sometimes it steps down, sometimes the clip's on the bottom, and if you order the wrong kind of part, it's gonna be very hard to have it to fit properly. So again, ordering the correct part is a big part in doing the repair properly. Okay. Till we get that. Here, as you can see, we have a wider window, also Casement crank-out window, and also is hinged left from the inside. An operator can either be for a window that's hinged right from the inside or hinged left from the inside. And this window is hinged left from the inside because the latch that unsecures the window is on the right side. If the latch is on the right side, then you can be rest assured that it's hinged left from the inside. And the operator that goes for this kind of window is like the one I showed you upstairs, which is a dual arm operator. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start taking the handle and the cover off. I'm going to take this cover plate off, and as soon as we got that apart, then we'll show you what's next. Because these bottom plates are painted shut, it's a good idea to take a utility knife and score it along the seams to break the paint so that you don't have chipped paint. Now when you come under here with the pry bar, you don't have to worry about the paint. You have to work it carefully, and because the wood is thin here, if you raise this up too much, the wood will just snap right here. So you have to work it a little here, and a little there to be able to take less stress off of where the wood is thin. There's a couple of things that are happening here simultaneously. Because this is a tight fit from left to right, you don't want to keep lifting both sides up because you're always going to be jammed. So what you want to do is you want to lift one side up higher than the other side so that you rack it and it can come out that way. But at the same time, you're mindful of not putting too much stress on the thin part of the wood. Usually these pieces of wood are held in here by thin nails, but somebody put some really heavy duty nails into this one, which is making it more difficult to pull apart. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up and taking the old part out. Okay, after you clean the place up with your vacuum cleaner, get all that crud and everything that built up over the years out of there, the next thing to do is if there's any leftover nails, you want to yank them out. So we're going to pull out the nails, and then we're going to disconnect the operator here where it's hooked up to the hinge, and pull everything apart. Once the operator is loose and disconnected, you just slide it right out of the track. Then you take your new one and you slide it right. Make sure there's no crud or anything here. Just slide the new one right into the track, and then you line everything up and you screw the new operator into position. The handle usually comes in handy to try to get the operator to line up with the holes. And there we go. Once that's all in, next step is to put it on top of the peg again. And then you take a tool or pry bar or something, press it down on there and snap that right back on there again. And the operator is hooked up. Next step is to put the cover back on and put everything back together again, and you're done. All right, we got everything put back together again. We're putting that sill cover back on. So we're working it back into position. And there's one nail that's still on there. So what we want to do is we want to try to line up that nail so that it fits in to the hole that it was going into before. And looks like we got it. As you notice, I'm hammering with the bottom end of my hammer, the rubber tip, because I'm trying to not do any damage to the wood part. That nail's working its way in. That's nice and tight. You could take your pry bar and hammer that like that to minimize. Then we take our old nails and put them back in, the ones that came out that we ripped out with the hammer. They can be in a different position as long as they're in there and holding the sill in place. I take my pry bar when I get close. If I don't want to damage the sill, I just put that on top of it. Hammer on that. And this way it keeps me from causing any more damage. Put our cover back on. Snaps in position. Take a handle. I don't know, looks to me like this handle's a little longer, has a little more leverage, but this one, these are both belong to the owner, but this one's is less scratched up, so we'll put this one on. Snap that on there, tighten your set screw, and you're done. It's Miller time. Just gave away my age. I guess these days it's Corona, right? Okay. Window opens. Window closes. Close it all the way. Window latches shut. And we'll take the screen that was there before. Put one end on the light. These are C-springs. The C-springs go into the groove on one side. There's different screens and they all operate a little bit differently. This one pops in like that, and voila, all done. Welcome to a window on the field repair job by Window Mechanic, and we'll see you soon.